Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me. This is the Community Ledger. And again, my name is Andrea Banu. I thank you, all those who subscribed and have stayed here with me. I know it's been a while since I uploaded. Honey, life started lifing, and I had to dedicate my undivided attention to my family. But now I am back, and I am ready to get back at it and start going over all this crazy chaos that's going on in the world and politics so that we can have the conversation together. So before I left off, Trump was elected, and Kamala went off into the wind. But now it has been it's not even been 30 days and still so much is going on. So I am just so happy to be back with you and jumping into all of the politics so that we can discuss all of the news, all of the crazy with the Elon Musk, with the Democrats, all of the crazy. So again, I'm happy to come back and join you. Please sit back, relax, and let's just enjoy the show. Thank you. So first up, I have to discuss the fact that Trump's ratings are going up. Yes, you heard that right. A lot of people thought that once he got in office and Elon started to take over and all of these cabinet members started getting confirmed that his numbers would start to drop, but it has been the exact opposite, okay? Tom Homan has gone into full effect, started deporting a lot of these criminals out of the country. They have sent the military to the borders. They are not playing, okay? Trump is fulfilling all of his campaign promises within the first 30 days. Serious about it. And so I want to play a video of, I think this was on CNN, whatever channel it was. I want to show you exactly what the numbers look like now that people are really appreciating what Trump and ICE are doing.
This poll finds that a majority of Americans, 53%, approve of the job he's doing. That's a better approval number than he ever reached during his first term in the White House. Joining us with more is our Executive Director of Elections and Surveys, Anthony Salvanto. Good to see you, Anthony. What's driving this?
I will keep it simple, Margaret. He is doing, in the eyes of the public, what he said he would do in the campaign. There's political value in that. In fact, 70% of people say he's doing what he promised. That's whether they approve of him or not. Now, there's another part of this that continues over from the campaign. There were words that he was described as being tough, being energetic, and he still is today in big majority numbers. So as people take a look in these first few weeks, there's been a lot of activity. They're getting that general sense of governance, and that's being reflected in these early numbers.
So there you have it. People are approving of what he's doing. You know, a lot of Democrats, a lot of other politicians thought that the American public would be dissatisfied with all of the deportation and, you know, the mass hysteria amongst the migration or immigration, migrant population. But it's been the exact opposite. You know, Chicago, New York, Denver, a lot of the citizens are really approving of what's happening in terms of ICE and removing all of these criminals and a lot of immigrants out of the country in record numbers. And so that is what he ran on. That is what a lot of people voted for. And they are seeing the fruits of their labor. They are seeing, you know, the benefits of actually going out and voting and getting some of this stuff done. It has already gone into effect. And Trump has already also, you know, froze federal funding. A lot of stuff happening in terms of what's it called, U.S. aid, going to fund all of these organizations, charitable organizations around the world. They put a freeze on all of that. And don't get me wrong, I do believe that a lot of different countries do need support. However, America needs to be supported first. You cannot continue to have all of these veterans on the streets, homeless. You cannot continue to have children who are hungry, people who need medical aid. You have natural disasters here in the States. In California, Florida, as well as South Carolina, those people need assistance, and $750 ain't gonna do it, okay? If you got all that money to send to Ukraine and different parts of the world, you got money to handle what's happening at home. And so Trump has stopped all of that international funding so that we can start taking care of home. Listen, these first 30 days have been a whirlwind, and I want you to see how, lifelong Democrats are feeling about it. Take a look.
This political party, the Democratic Party, have lied to us about everything. They've lied about being the party of the middle class. They've lied about being the party of peace. They've lied about being the party that wants to help poor people. Okay? What the last several weeks have proven to us all is that this is a cadre of criminals and losers and spoiled children of affluent parents who were more concerned about looking good than actually doing good. These are people who were more concerned about looking like they were doing something for the American people than actually doing things for the American people. And that's why I'm so angry. Because this party lied to me while stealing my tax dollars. The Democratic Party lied to us all while they brought in millions of illegal immigrants for their own political purposes for the last 4 years. 20 to 30 million illegal aliens brought in, and now we come to USAID being probably the largest money laundering operation in American history. Congratulations, Dems. You've outdone even Bernie Madoff. I'm disgusted beyond words. Disgusted with the waste of money. Disgusted with the waste, with the fraud. With the way that you people use color legitimacy, and the way you use black people as fucking mules to get us to push whatever fucking agenda you wanted to. The amount of division you used black people to sow upon the American people, you used us for that. And I will never, ever forgive this political party. The shit that I've gone through personally. Y'all were supposed to be the party of free speech, the party of women's rights. You have immolated all of those things. And then, as if enough weren't enough, you then decide that you're going to die on the hill of USAID, a government audit. You're trying to prevent a government audit because some of you really are trying to stay out of prison.
Facts. Some of them are trying to stay out of prison. We know that when these people get into office, they have an income threshold, okay? You're supposed to only be able to make like $200,000 a year. That's what you sign on to. Most people, at least, they know when they get hired somewhere, this is what I'm going to be making every year. However, how is it that all of these politicians, when they leave office, they're in the millions? They make millions while in office. How, Sway? How is that possible? I mean, where they do that at? How come we don't have jobs like that, where we can go in and sign on the dotted line? Okay, I'm signing for $100,000 a year, but in 5 years I'm gonna leave at 50 million. I mean, like, come on now. So it's obvious this is all just one hand washing the other. Everybody's getting their kickbacks. Everybody's got their hand in the pot. And the American public has said enough is enough. And that's why they can't stand Trump, because Trump has come and Trump has decided to just throw the table over. And he's decided to just drain the swamp, get rid of all of this corruption so that American citizens can stop being used and abused. And I'm all for it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Trump is without flaws. I did not vote for Trump because I think he's like the great white hope and he's going to come save everything. No, but what he is going to do is give us some time, okay? Like I said in some of my other videos, we got 4 years. 4 years to get our act together. 4 years to grind and get our stuff together. Because what the Democrats had planned for us, we wasn't even gonna have that. They was gonna keep their foot on our neck heavy, and we wasn't gonna have no opportunity to breathe or move or elevate. And so this is what he's created, a window of opportunity for us to grind. And with that being said, I want you to watch this unedited video that 60 Minutes has just released of Ms. Kamala Harris. We dodged a bullet. I want you to hear this. Now, of course, we know that the version we saw was very curated and edited and colorful and all prettied up, but you gotta watch the unedited version.
Move on to the economy. As you were saying, well, first of all, the economy and inflation, those are the primary concerns of the American voters this election year. You just got some blockbuster jobs report, a blockbuster job report the other day. And there are lots of signs that the American economy is doing very well. Better than most countries, I think. But the American people don't seem to be feeling it. Groceries are 25% higher than when you took office. And people are blaming you and Joe Biden for that. Are they wrong?
So you are correct that under our leadership, the United States of America has recovered and is stronger than any other so-called developed nation in the world, in particular after the crisis that was the pandemic. And understand, we came into office facing a disaster in large part because of the mismanagement of the former president, Donald Trump, where the economy was in a slump. People were dying by the hundreds. It was a real crisis. But because of our approach and our work, we now have historic low unemployment in America among all groups of people. We now have an economy that is thriving by all macroeconomic measures. We have recovered in a way that we have created almost 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. We have created over 16 million new jobs as a whole. And to your point, prices are still too high. And I know that, and we need to deal with it, which is why part of my plan, you mentioned groceries, part of my plan.
I'm sorry, but I had to just pause it because when she said 16 million new jobs, I thought, yes, 16 million new jobs for all them immigrants to go pick cotton, to go pick our vegetables at slave wages. Those are the 16 million new jobs she just created.
Plan is what we must do to bring down the price of groceries. I'm taking on an issue I've taken on before as Attorney General, the issue of price gouging, which is not all, but some corporations and businesses that take advantage of a crisis and jack prices up, making the cost of groceries and other everyday essentials too expensive for the American people.
But
I'm taking on the issue of housing. It's a big issue in our country. It's too expensive. There were generations before us that believed they could achieve the American dream, which included home ownership. Now I travel our country. I talk to young people every day. And they are so concerned they'll never be able to afford to buy a home or even start a family because of the cost of housing. So part of my plan is to put the resources into partnering with builders and developers to create incentives for them to build 3 million new homes by the end of my first term. And my plan includes giving first-time home buyers a $25,000 down payment assistance so they can just get their foot in the door.
Well, let's talk about that. You want to expand the child tax credit.
Yes, I do.
You want to give tax breaks to first-time home buyers.
Yes.
And people starting small businesses.
Correct.
But it is estimated by the Nonpartisan Committee for Responsible Federal Budget that your economic plan would add $3 trillion to the federal deficit over the next decade. How are you going to pay for that?
Okay, so the other economists that have reviewed my plan versus my opponent, because this is an election and there are two choices. Everyone from Goldman Sachs to Moody's to 16 Nobel laureates. So on the first point, comparing my economic plan to Donald Trump's economic plan, they have reviewed it and determined that my economic plan would strengthen America's economy, his would weaken it.
Okay, but notice she didn't answer the question. What are you going to do to strengthen the economy? My plan is better. Several economists have said so. Oh, okay.
16 Nobel laureates, Moody's, others, have determined after reviewing what Donald Trump is proposing that he would induce inflation, increase inflation, and bring about a recession by the middle of next year.
But-
My plan, Bill, if you don't mind, my plan is about saying that when you invest in small businesses, you invest in the middle class, and you strengthen America's economy. Small businesses are part of the backbone of America's economy.
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, the question was,
But pardon me, Madam Vice President, you didn't actually answer the question, so can we get back to the topic at hand, please?
how are you going to pay for it?
Well, one of the things is I'm going to make sure that the rich
Why is she always sounding inebriated? Is it alcohol? Is it drugs? Like, what is it?
just among us who can afford it pay their fair share in taxes. Listen, again, my opponent, when he was president, issued a tax cut for people like himself, billionaires and the biggest corporations. My perspective is everybody needs to pay their fair share. It is not right that teachers and nurses and firefighters are paying a higher tax rate than billionaires and the biggest corporations.
But-
I plan on making that fair.
That's how you know when somebody's BSing. When the interviewer just says, When you're continuing to talk and the person listening is just like, That's how you know it's bullshit. And then he keeps interrupting you with, but you ain't talking about nothing. You're not saying nothing.
But we're dealing with the real world here.
But the real
But we're dealing in the real world. Shade.
world includes,
How are you going to get this through Congress?
you know, when you talk quietly with a lot of folks in Congress, they know exactly what I'm talking about because they're constituents.
Oh, so when you speak quietly to people in Congress, they know what I'm talking about. What does that mean? They know babble? They know bullshit babble? They know that language? What does that mean exactly, ma'am? Translation, please.
Constituents know exactly what I'm talking about. Their constituents are those firefighters and teachers and nurses. Their constituents are middle-class, hardworking folk who know that it is not right that hardworking people are paying a higher tax rate than the richest people who can afford to pay their fair share. So that's how we deal with it. But understand also that this is, yes, it is about how we pay for what we're doing, but understand it doesn't end there. My plan is actually about strengthening America's economy, not just netting zero. My plan is about doing what we can do for small businesses and startups. Right now, the tax deduction, Bill, for a startup, $5,000. In 2024, nary a person gonna be able to start a small business with $5,000. So I'm gonna extend it to $50,000. My plan is about what we need to do to, yes, expand the child tax credit, because for young families, for the first year of their child's life, $6,000 allows them to buy a crib, a car seat, and just be able to not just get by, but get ahead for that most critical stage of their child's development. We all benefit from that. We all benefit from that.
I understand, but that sounds great. It does. It all sounds good. But the reality is these tax cuts have been in place for years.
They're about to expire.
Yes, and Congress has shown no inclination to move in your direction.
I disagree with you. There are plenty of leaders in Congress who understand and know that the Trump tax cuts blew up our federal deficit and care about the deficit in a way that they know. We must address it by making sure that our tax policy reflects fairness and, again, understand none of us, and certainly I cannot afford to be myopic in terms of how I think about strengthening America's economy. And that has to include where are we investing our resources in a way that we maximize the return on the investment. Let me tell you something. I am a devout public servant, you know that. I am also a capitalist. And I know.
Look at his face. Look at his face. Bill is showing a large amount of restraint and professionalism because he knows that he is literally being lied to and that this woman is bullshit. But nonetheless, we have all seen many clips like this and videos of all of the word salads and the crazy chaos that she speaks on a regular basis. But I just wanted to reiterate how we dodged a bullet, one, and two, how we really have to start waking up in regards to what this government is trying to do, what these Democrats had planned, and what is going on in that White House and in Congress. We have just been so lackadaisical for too long, and this is a perfect example on how we cannot afford. Okay, we cannot afford to not be informed any longer. We cannot afford to not be aware of what's happening locally and nationally. And this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example because this woman is crazy. Okay, this woman is crazy and was incredibly unqualified. And the sad part is that if she was to get in office, she would have no allegiance to our community, or even, as far as I'm concerned, women or children. And we definitely dodged a bullet. But again, I am just so happy to be back to have these conversations with you. I am so happy that Trump is in office and is doing exactly what he said he was going to do on the campaign trail. He has just made an announcement that he's extending an opportunity for South Africans, Caucasian South Africans, to they have it so bad in South Africa. So he said, well, come on over here then, since you got it so bad. Why he did that, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree. However, it was done, and the South Africans said, you know what, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. So they were lying, okay? The Africans, the true Africans in Africa, were not killing them and cutting up like they claimed and wanted to put on international news. No, they still running everything over there, and ain't no reason for them to be trying to come here in America. But listen, Trump, if you're trying to get people out, you're trying to get people of color out, what you trying to bring them over here for? We trying to do America first, okay? We don't need nobody else. I don't care what color they are. We don't need nobody else. So Trump, get in order, okay? And I believe that Elon whispered in his ear and was like, you know what, let some of my people come over here. No. That's not what we need to do. No, we need to focus on America first, okay? Elon, you need to step aside. And truth be told, Elon and Trump gonna end up butting heads because Elon has just got his hands in too much stuff. And he's gonna mess around and mess up Trump's legacy. So Trump truly needs to kind of just keep Elon Musk at arm's reach and focus on the job at hand, focus on what he said he was going to do during the campaign trail, focus on America first, and whatever Elon want to do, let him do that on his own time, on his own dime. Okay, American dollars don't need to be spent on that. We don't need no Afrikaners or Afroforum or whatever they call themselves in Africa, in South Africa, the white people in South Africa. We don't need none of them over here, okay? We trying to get people out, okay? We trying to save money, not waste money, okay? So nonetheless, I just thank you for all of those who continue to be a part of the Community Ledger family, who continue to just be a part and just wait for me to come back. I am so grateful, so thankful. And those who have not subscribed, I ask you to do so that I can continue to make this content and continue to share in these incredible conversations about what's happening in our community, what's happening in politics, and how all of these things affect us. So again, thank you so much. I love you. I appreciate you. Again, my name is Andrea Banu, and this is the Community Ledger.